And we're back. And I'm so excited that I have real comics content for you. I know it's been a little bit, and if you're wondering why or where I've been, or maybe you don't know who I am, and that's fine, but you can watch my other video about where I've been, what I've been doing, and why what's happening in the world matters in comics. I think it's important. Go watch that video. But I got mail sent to me by a PDX favorite, Jack Kent. We've talked to Jack a couple of times. He does Sketchy People, but he also sent me some other goodies that I'm really excited to talk about. And I read a new title by Mad Cave Studios called Dryfoot, which I'm really excited to tell you about. So without further ado, let's talk comics. Alright, we're gonna start with what Jack sent me in the mail. I'm so excited because he sent to my door Sketchy People #4, which is so cool. I love Sketchy People. I think it's such an amazing project and such a great look at Portland. And if you don't know what Sketchy People is, this is the 4th one, so there are 3 others before it, which is how numbers work. Basically, Jack sketches people that he sees around Portland. And other places that he goes, but predominantly Portland. People in strange outfits, people in strange situations, just little slices of life that he sees, and he writes down where he saw them, and it's hilarious. And I think I love it so much because I'm not from Portland, and so I get such a taste of what Portland is from this book, and from the others as well. There's not a lot of dialogue. Usually it is dialogueless. It's just sketches of people he sees around town. It is like People of New York, but weirder and drawn. I love it. I think it's great. I loved 4. I flipped through it and just, I don't know, I just enjoyed all of it. I think it's great. If you haven't checked it out before, especially if you're a Portlander, check it out. I think there's not a better book that you could have on your coffee table to brag to your friends that you have than Sketchy People. You can get it on his website, of course, but call your local comic book shop, maybe Floating World Comics, and see if they're holding it. A lot of comic book shops right now are doing mail order or delivery or pickup, or all 3, so check that out as well. Jack also sent me, we've talked about this before as well, but this is new, Gulls, Squawk and Roll, which I think is hilarious. It's about 3 seagulls in a punk band. One of them has a giant pink mohawk, which is something I always wanted, but never did because I'm a coward. So props. But it's really funny, and this is more of like a comic strip, right? So you can follow along, it's continuous. It's so funny, it's so full of puns, and it's really lighthearted. I love Jack's lighthearted approach to comics because he does broach like important, timely subjects, but with puns and seagulls. I mean, you can't lose. I think that it's great light reading for right now, is because the world is on fire a little bit. So that leads me to my next point, which is the 3rd and final book that Jack sent me, which is something I haven't read by him before. I had read previous Sketchy Peoples and, right? Sure. And also I had previously read some Squawk and Roll, which you can keep up with on his Instagram, which I'll put here. But this book, Mine is Tied, is something that I had never read from Jack before, and this is the 3rd Treasury by Jack Kent is what it's called. Basically, it's like, think of the New Yorker picture when it has like the text right underneath it. So it's like that. It's really lighthearted, it's really funny, and I really enjoyed it because, listen, right now my anxiety is like, phew, through the roof. As I'm sure a lot of people may feel the same way. So it's hard for me to start new media, new content, which may seem a little silly, but I have a hard time, I don't know, ingesting new things when I know exactly what old things require of me emotionally. This is weird, I'm sorry. But the reason why I say that is because Mine is Tied was so great for the reason that it was really bite-sized, consumable content that I found really light and funny, and I don't know, obviously it's drawn well. He's very good at that. He draws comics. It was perfect for my brain right now, I'll be honest. So I would suggest that you check them out. I had a great time reading them, and it's all I could ask for out of comics that are trying to get my attention right now. And that's just me personally and my anxiety monster. Anyway, I think they're great, and I really appreciate Jack sending them to me. He is, like I said, a PDX fave. If you have not checked him out, please do. You can find a lot on his website, also on the Instagrams for Gulls Comics, and also mine is Tide. So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. Thank you so much. And the next comic I have to chat with you about is from Mad Cave Studios. It's called Dryfoot. I had no clue what this comic was going to be about. I asked them to send it to me and they did, which was very sweet of them. But it is about 4 teenagers who decide that they're going to steal money from a drug kingpin in Miami in the 80s. My mom heart, I have no children. I have a dog. He's more like we're on a long, long life journey, but he's not my child, right? My mom heart, though, says maybe babies don't. But I'm really excited to see where this goes. It's like, you know, sort of the camaraderie of Stranger Things, but make it Latinx, right? And I love that. And I also love the 80s aesthetic. I think it's so great. The colors, the outfits, everything was really good. And in the first 20 or so pages, which is like how long this comic is essentially, you meet these 4 teenagers and you get such a sense of who they are and who they are to each other, which I think is really hard to do in a first issue of a comic. Sometimes it's not done very well, but I thought it was great. I love Mari. Thick thighs save lives. I love her. She's very headstrong and I thought she was hilarious. And Angel must be protected at all costs. He has a sweet little stutter. He's just very, very pure. But all the characters were great, and the idea that this town, Miami, is run by this kingpin, this drug kingpin, who these kids just want to overthrow. Like, what a hilariously David versus Goliath sort of situation. But I believe that they could do it. They're plucky. And I like that you gotta look into their lives, right? So these are not kids that come from good fortune or money or whatever. You know, they're just kind of like a ragtag group of teens who found each other. And so I think it'll be great. I think it'll be a really good coming of age meets crime adventure. I don't know. I'm excited for it. Even in the first issue, there's some action. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I want to encourage you to go to Mad Cave Studios and purchase it, read it, look at it. You can call your local comic book shop and see if they are getting a shipment of it. But the date for your local comic book shop to order it to have it in-house has already passed, so there's a chance that they may not be carrying it, but just give them a call anyway. I've checked out Mad Cave Studios in the past couple of months because they had this great GoFundMe started for comic book retailers during the pandemic because, like many mom and pop shops, they were suffering, and probably still are. I say were, but we're still in the middle of a pandemic. I know it feels like it's been 84 years because it has. So, check it out. I really, really enjoyed it. It was created by a diverse cast of people. So I think that that is also great. And per my last video, it's really important to me to be conscientious about the comics I'm picking up off the shelf and making sure that I'm trying to diversify the types of stuff that I read. And that's really all I have for you this week. I mean, 4 books, that's a lot, right? So I'm really excited to be back. I'm really committed to making sure that this is a channel that celebrates and reads diversely, if that makes sense. I want to read books by all different kinds of people, not just white dudes, which is what the comics industry is dominated by. So let's be better together. I'm so excited to hear about what you guys have been reading in quarantine, what you're loving, what you're not loving, what you think I should be reading. And this has been a great first video back after a while. So thank you so much for your patience with me, and please pick up these comics. Let me know what you think of them. As always, I'm so interested to know if you guys read the comics that I suggest, maybe? Is that bold of me to assume? Anyway, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much, and this has been Nerd News with Destiny.